Chapter 579, The Prince of the Eastern Region. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. The two glazed knights had reached the fourth change in the fish-dragon realm. Even though they had been beheaded, their martial souls did not dissipate at once and still contained enough energy to launch attacks. The hands of the two headless bodies gripped their white bone spears tightly. With their remaining energy they launched a final attack, driving their spears inch by inch into Concubine Lin's body. Bam, bam. Zhang Yuochen unleashed two successive palm strikes. The corpses of the two glazed knights flew back under their force. The entire process happened in mere seconds. In the distance, the Nine Serenity Sword Saint fixed his stare at Zhang Yuochen. The light from his pupils merged into thousands of sword chi strands, swishing noisily like torrential floods and oceanic waves, gushing towards Zhang Yuochen. His single glance packed vast magnitudes of sword comprehension. The sword chi shot forwards, grazing the ground with a sword mark dozens of meters long. Gravel and sand were thrown up as it hurtled towards Zhang Yuochen with a force equal to 10,000 officers and soldiers armed with combat swords. Zhang Yuochen stood in front of the cage, his staunch gaze revealing no intention to retreat at all. He had made the decision to rescue Concubine Lin, and he was prepared to die with her. Not a shred of fear remained in his heart, just helplessness and an unwillingness to be defeated. Shang Juiyu, why have you stooped so low as to attack a junior? I feel you no longer deserve the title of Sword Saint. It seemed certain Zhang Yuochen would be slain by the sword chi. Just then, a towering figure charged out from East Region Saint Mansions. No one could make out his features. They could only see a glaring golden brilliance emanating from his whole body, fiery like a blazing sun, so vivid that no one could open their eyes. The golden figure transformed into a light shuttle, pushing air aside and positioning himself between Zhang Yuochen and the Nine Serenity Sword Saint. The Prince of the Eastern Region's body was like a monolith driven into the ground. Without stirring an inch, he swiftly stretched his large golden hand forward and struck. Swoosh! All the sword chi enveloping the sky vanished without a trace. The Nine Serenity Sword Saint stared at the man opposite him and laughed. I'm just a sword saint, not a true saint. Even true saints cannot be perfect. Don't you think you have too high an expectation, Prince? Furthermore, a time and space descendant isn't just any ordinary human being. I don't see my attack as a degrading act. The light emanating from the Prince of the Eastern Region was very bright, resembling a divine golden lake. Only superiors above the half-saint realm could make out his body. The Nine Serenity Sword Saint smiled. The prince was secluding himself for cultivation, I believe. He can't even restrain the holy light of his body now after taking himself out of seclusion. It appears I must have disturbed you, Prince. It's all right. The Prince of the Eastern Region uttered. The Nine Serenity Sword Saint said, if you fight me in your present condition, I'm afraid the holy light will backfire in your body. Don't worry. I've already activated the cosmic formation of East Region Saint City. I'm sorry, none of the visitors can leave today. Everyone has to stay. With both hands behind his back, the Prince of the Eastern Region carried himself with an unyielding, erect and most distinguished air. After he spoke, spiritual chi rapidly expanded at the bottom of the deep valley, centered on the Saint Prince's mansion. The stone walls in the valley gradually peeled away, revealing countless arrays of inscriptions. Over 100,000 had surfaced. They drifted about in midair, merging into a gigantic light wheel and taking up an ancient military formation. The next moment, a 30-meter wide light beam whizzed up from the bottom of the valley. It penetrated the ancient array and flew into the sky. Swoosh, swoosh. All the heaven and earth spiritual chi in the East Region Saint City began to quiver suddenly. From deep underground came a dull, thunderous boom. East Region Saint City had been built from a fallen star. Its diameter stretched over 5,000 kilometers. On the remains of this star were 5 continents and 12 seas. All 360 buildings of Saint Prince's mansion, constituting 360 ancient formation platforms, began to revolve. 8 port cities were situated at the outskirts of East Region Saint City. The sky above the 8 port cities became unbearably bright. Brilliant streaks of white light shot down from the heavens. Their warriors in the port cities raised their heads and stared at the sky. They saw 360 beams of light shoot out from East Region Saint City, emitting a dazzling light. They gradually wrapped around the entire planet like a net. Everyone was stunned. What on earth has happened? Why has the cosmic formation been activated? The last time it was activated was over 500 years ago. Something serious must have happened. Their warriors from the 8 major port cities grew pale. Even the saints were shocked. Everyone released themselves from cultivation to investigate. Moments later, they discovered that the East Region Saint mansions were embroiled in a massive war. The East Region Saint city was in chaos as well. While the cosmic formation was being activated, Chen Yushan and Jiang Yuochen too struck out at different people. Chen Yushan sat on the back of a Bian behemoth, condensing his holy chi into one arm. The sky piercer in his hand turned a bright crimson as he drove it into the ghost saint's chest. Scorching saint power streamed from his spear into the ghost saint's chest, stomach, head, limbs and 5 organs. Chen Yushan knew. The ghost saint let out a long shriek. His saintly body glowed like a blazing ceramic as cracks appeared on his skin. Every crack radiated red brilliance. With a wham, his saintly being shattered, melting into fragments of holy light and emitting rays in every direction. The explosive energy emitted after a saint's demise was truly extraordinary. Boom! A shard of holy light had fallen to the ground, causing great damage. It was comparable to a small meteorite hitting the earth. It left a crater 30 meters deep. More holy light fragments exploded out, some towards Saint Prince's mansion, others towards the black market saints, still others in the direction of the 4 powerful saint families. The 18 mana protection rays of Saint Prince's mansion had all been activated. They were enough to shield the mansion from the devastating impact of the ghost saint's explosion. But the monks and warriors from the black market were unable to ward off the holy light. Except for a few who were protected by saints, all the rest evaporated into a blood fog, dying on the spot. Ghastly screams rang out everywhere. Come back! Chen Yushan held out his hand to capture the ghost saint's holy source. Chen Yushan brandished his sky piercer once more, and attacked the phantom saint hiding in the darkness in an effort to rescue the 2 Chen branch heads. Glang! While Chen Yushan was slaying the ghost saint, Jiang Yuochen brandished his ancient abyss sword and slashed through the dark steel railings. He roused his genuine chi and pulled out the dragon bone spears on both sides of Concubine Lin's shoulder. Now that he knew her life was not in danger, he made her take an injury healing pill. Jiang Yuochen held her hands and kept injecting genuine chi into her body. Seeing the fresh blood on her shoulders and wrists, he bit his lip. The rage in his heart blazed even more intensely. He called to her softly, "Mother, mother." Concubine Lin slowly opened her eyes and looked up at him. Then she shut her eyes and once more lapsed into unconsciousness. As Jiang Ruochen healed his mother's injuries, the Chen saints engaged in fighting with the black market saints. Frantic shadows danced around the sky. His 2 senior brothers Zi Hongtao and Wan were fighting black market superiors. But they were primarily defending, keeping themselves a close distance from Jiang Yuochen. If Jiang Yuochen encountered any danger, they would immediately come to his rescue. The 9 Serenity Sword Saint gave an order. Let's leave before the cosmic formation closes around us. We have to leave East Region Saint City now. Beckoning his arm, he wrapped Yi up in his holy chi. Executing the sword defending technique, he soared towards the sky. The Prince of the Eastern Region stood on the ground, raising both arms and communicating with the heaven and earth spiritual chi. 4 9 skills. Rainmaking hand. The spiritual chi between the heaven and the earth converged above the 9 Serenity Sword Saint's head. A massive palm was about to crush him. To anyone looking up to the heavens, this massive palm occupied 1/3 of the sky. The palm prints ridged like towering mountains. This earth-shaking palm contained unimaginable, terrifying power. Sword 7. The 9 Serenity Sword Saint's feet stepped on a green holy sword. One hand held Yi, the other he thrust out like a sword. Infinite sword shadows converged, arranging themselves into a rotating cone. This mass struck against the massive palm in the sky. Swoosh! Enclosed in his holy sword's sword radiance and numerous sword shadows, he penetrated through Prince of the Eastern Region's rain-making hand. He soared to the top of the clouds. The 9 Serenity Sword Saint was not injured, but Yi was hurt badly. He was a mangled body of blood and pulp, heavily injured and on the verge of dying. The 9 Serenity Sword Saint grabbed hold of Yi's wrist, checking his pulse. He crinkled his brows. Yi had become injured even under his protection. He had to admit the Prince of the Eastern Region's cultivation was incredibly powerful. The 9 Serenity Sword Saint stood in the clouds, gazing down with sharp eyes. How excellent the 4-9 skill is. It certainly lives up to its reputation. But enough for today. I shall visit your mansion another day to have you display your skills for me. The Prince of the Eastern Region replied, I'm afraid there won't be a next time. The cosmic formation rotated suddenly. A bolt of purple lightning converged above 9 Serenity Sword Saint's head and struck. Led by the 9 Serenity Sword Saint, all the Black Market Saints hurled their holy weapons upwards to fend off the lightning strike. Boom! A streak of lightning flashed at the Black Market Saints. Horrific screams rang out. 9 half-saint corpses fell from the sky. The cosmic formation was a wonderful ancient formation composed of 360 arrays. When it congregated all the spiritual chi from the East Region Saint City, it was impossible for normal warriors to withstand it. CHCH. The cosmic formation started to revolve again, condensing its energy for a second assault. The mark of a yin-yang fish appeared in the sky. The white and black fish rotated, exchanging positions, as dozens of lightning bolts snaked their way around them. They looked as if they would strike at any moment.